Thank you for joining us for the Survivors Empowerment Summit, where you can uncover the key to healing trauma using unique techniques that you've seen but never thought to use. I am your host, Tay Youngblood. You are about to watch an interview with one of our 21 speakers for this event. Take notes and write down your questions. This event is going to be packed with useful information and techniques to healing trauma. And now, your speaker. Welcome to the Survivors Empowerment Summit. I'm your host, Tay Youngblood. I'm a trauma release guide, and I help sexual trauma survivors reconnect and love themselves more so they can create healthy relationships, feel safe in their own bodies, and set healthy boundaries. I am here today with Felicia Johnson. Felicia has an incredible story of transformation as someone physically and sexually abused, taken from their loved one and placed in the foster care system where she would stay for 10 years, emancipated out at age 16, faced multiple hardships. Felicia refused to allow her past to dictate her future. So she pushed through the pain to embark on her healing journey and began to see triumph in her trauma. She overcame challenges at full speed from all angles to create a transformed life. Now wife, mother, and serial entrepreneur, Felicia decided to help trauma survivors transition from living in their trauma experience to healing their story by building a better life and future through Heal Your Story LLC. Welcome, Felicia. How are you doing today?
I am doing absolutely fabulous. I'm excited to be here. I'm glad that we're connected. I'm just excited to be here at the summit.
That is awesome. I'm super excited to have you at the summit. I know that before this, we had a wonderful conversation. So it is so nice to finally get you on camera and get you talking about what you do to help heal trauma. So one of the things that I would like you to do first is just tell our participants a little bit about yourself and how you came to work with trauma.
Yes, awesome. So the first thing I want to do is just say, like Tay said, I am Felicia Johnson, and I am a mother, I'm a wife, trauma recovery coach, and not only that, my biggest thing is that you can live life after trauma. And that is like my message throughout what I do, the work that I do, especially with my clients. I always tell my clients, you can live life after the hurt, after the wound, after the woundedness, because a lot of times when we go through wounds, when we go through hurt, we feel like, life is over. I can't be in a relationship. I can't have, children, or I can't be a great mom, or we can't build certain relationships that we want to build in our lives. And so for me, my main message is living life after trauma, and you're deserving to be whole, healthy, live in peace, be loved, give love, and all that amazing good stuff. Because I know, as hard as it is, when we process the trauma and the woundedness, it's like we also have to realize that we still are deserving. And I think that's kind of the hardest thing for us to believe, that I am deserving after all I've gone through, after all I've been through, that I'm deserving to live happy or peace or just be. And I think that's what my message is when it comes to heal your story. And so, yeah, I'm excited.
That is awesome. So, what exactly got you into trauma work? Like, what put you on this path?
It really was my own personal story. Being 7 years old, taken away from the only family I knew, placed in the foster care system because of sexual abuse that was going on in my family. And not only sexual abuse from a family member, it was my uncle. And I was being physically abused by my mother and my stepfather. And so I was going through different abuse from different individuals. And even though it was devastating that I got taken away from my family, it was still like a longing and a hurt there, because I was like, that's the only thing I know. That's the only people I know. So now I'm with complete strangers at 7 years old, and I'm like, I don't know where I am. I'm in a whole different town. I don't know who I'm living with, and life just became real hard. So growing up 7 years old, and all I knew was, you're not deserving to be loved, or you're not deserving to be part of a family. So I battled with depression. At I believe at a very young age, 8 years old, I started self mutilating, and that was the way that I was like, okay, well, all I know is pain, so maybe this is way I show love, or this is me being love if I cause hurt to myself. So self mutilation was something that I battled with. Um, Looking for love in all the wrong places. Start smoking marijuana at what 10 years old, um, and oh goodness. So when you think about it, you're like, dang, I went through so much. And
Mhm.
so like going through that, I was like looking for to be wanted, to be truly wanted. And so I found myself getting married to my high school sweetheart at 16 years old.
Okay.
And I thought that this was going to ease all the pain. I thought that this was going to be amazing, that he was just going to
Mhm.
come and be my Superman, right?
Mhm.
What I realized that that was not the case.
Mhm.
So by the age of 21, I was now divorced, and I was looking down at my two beautiful daughters, and I was like, okay, I can't allow what I've gone through, my trauma, my past, to begin to affect the things that I've gone through or to dictate their lives.
Mhm.
I didn't want my trauma to be a generational thing going on to them. And so I began my healing journey at that moment. Was it just all honky dory and cupcakes and rainbows? Absolutely not. It was work. It was real work. And even today, I'm still working. I'm still moving forward because we think that, oh, all the things that I've gone through is in the past, but we still have a work to do daily of
Mhm.
our healing journey because it's a lifetime.
Yep.
And so I, went into school, went to college, and then just back and forth of, okay, what do I want to do? I didn't want to do just another 9 to 5 because I've had a lot of jobs where with H&R Block, with nonprofit organizations like was one. It was Sam's, it called in my town in Florida. And
Okay.
so one of the things is that I didn't want a job or just to be in a position where my heart wasn't in it.
Mhm.
And so I ended up working for nonprofit organizations and going into the homeless shelters, going into halfway houses with ex-offenders, and I began to facilitate and teach. And
Okay.
one thing that I realized that everyone that I met had in common was they had gone through some type of trauma in their
Mhm.
life. And that was the birth of Heal Your Story.
That is awesome. I like that. So it sounds like you really had a grasp of, what you wanted to do. Like you knew at such a young age that you wanted to change. I don't know anybody who, really found that, wanting and desire to change at such a young age. Like even for myself, like my healing journey only started probably about 5 years ago. And I don't have any children. So they're really, for me, it was really just me trying to figure out my life and my healing. So for you to know, like you wanted to stop that, those past traumas and that generational trauma, you wanted to stop that for your girls. That is super powerful.
And and it's funny that you say that because I think that at that age, I think I distinguished the two.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been through the worst of the worst. Like what I've gone through, this ain't normal. Like it was something, I don't know what it was, but it was something that was like what you've gone through. It's not healthy. It's not right. But there's an other side of what you might not know what it is. I might not know what it looks like. I had no reference for it, but there's another side of it. So I think that because I knew the hurt, the brokenness, the under the influence, the self mutilation, I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I knew. I wanted to be like, okay, can I have something else, please? Next, next. Can I have something else? Give me something else. I don't want this no more.
I completely get that. So when Heal Your Story was born, how did you start to realize the way that you wanted to start to help people heal? Because you do something really unique. You know, you have art therapy and performative arts on your side. So, how did you come up with the idea to incorporate that into healing?
Wow. It was the thing that saved my life. And I say that and I don't say that lightly. It was the performing arts saved my life because it was a foster mother that she was just going in and out of the stores one day. And I'm like, okay, what is this lady doing? She is crazy. Something is wrong with her. And she was getting dresses and I'm like, this lady, something's wrong with this lady. She need help. And I remember just pulling up and arriving to this beautiful, huge building in downtown Miami.
Mhm.
Was an our art gallery, our art symphony, and I was amazed because I was walking into my first symphony.
Wow.
And when I was so close to the stage and I was looking at the ballerinas, the opera singers, and my eyes was just like, oh my goodness, I got to do this. I want to do this. And immediately, my foster mom, she put me into ballet at a very young age. She put me in African dance. I think I took African for 6 years. I took ballet for 5. And so I was in these different types of dance and I was like, okay, how can I use this movement, creativity to help people heal? Because I know for me, it was something that gave me, I finally had a voice
Mhm.
and the freedom. And it felt like the first thing in my life that I actually had a choice and I chose it for myself.
Mhm.
Nobody gave it to me, try to force it down my throat. It was something that I chose. And I think there's something freeing about when you give a survivor
Mhm.
something that they choose, that they love to do, and especially when it
Absolutely.
comes creativity. Oh my goodness, it's wonders that comes out of it. And so I thought it was so important to incorporate that. Like when I do one-on-ones with my clients, we be tearing up paper, we be coloring, and so anything that gives you that choice of that freedom that I'm choosing this, no
Mhm.
one's choosing this for me. And so that's what that was.
I love that. And you said something so powerful, like it almost brought a tear to my eye. You said it gave me a voice. And that is something that so many people who have gone through traumas in their life are looking for. They're looking for their voice.
Yeah.
So when you say like you're using this to do that, like, and it sounds like you don't just do dance. You said also you're doing art. So like what is like a typical session like when you bring in these elements?
Right. The first thing I always try to get with the client, because everyone's different.
Mm-hmm.
And even though movement might not be your thing, I always find something that you once did, and that's me prying when you were a child, maybe when you were a teenager. And so that usually is just that open door of, okay, somebody might say, oh, I used to paint when I was young, but I stopped painting at the time my abuse happened.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time you painted? Ah, years. And so I would begin to introduce that.
Mm-hmm.
And when I introduce it, they'll be like, but I don't even know what I'm doing. You don't have to know what you're doing. Just do it.
Right.
Just paint. And I'm going to paint with you. And so a lot of times since, the world happened,
Of
because
course.
it happened, we do it. I'm doing it on Zoom with them and I'm literally painting with them. And they were like, whoa, I did not know all the emotions
Mm-hmm.
that came out of me just painting. And I had no idea of what I was painting. And so a lot of times we think that, oh, I'm just writing or I'm just drawing, I'm just dancing, that it has no emotional effect to it, but it always pulls out emotions. And so my favorite question is, how did you feel when you were painting?
Mm-hmm.
What were you feeling when you were painting? And it always comes to something where, wow, before my trauma happened, I used to feel so alive, or I used to feel so free, or I was so great at this, or it's always a positive feeling for them that they felt about them when they were doing something creative.
Right.
So that's what I love. I get chills. I'm sorry.
It sounds wonderful. And it also sounds like there's like a little bit of like inner child work that's happening as well. Because it sounds like you're kind of bringing out that fun side, that creative side, whether they were able to experience it beforehand or whether they're just picking it back up.
And I think it's so wonderful. And you said something, you said inner child work. I think it really is, because we are nurturing that, what I like you reparenting and
Mm-hmm.
re-loving on you, re-caring and catering for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times I believe as survivors, for me, I'm gonna say this for me, we want to be all and do all for everybody, want to give and say yes, 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 yes. But
Mm-hmm.
there's no one saying, okay, how are you feeling? How are you doing? Let me take care of you. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, I think when you are tapping into that creative side of you, you're being vulnerable with you first.
Mm-hmm.
You're bringing that awareness, and you're like, I do matter. Like, I'm doing this for me, and this is what I want to do. I'm going to be selfish with my time because I want to do this. And it is that, that catering for that inner daughter, or your inner girl, or the inner boy, or inner you.
Mm-hmm.
It's that. And I feel like everyone should feel that way. I really.
I definitely agree. So, would you say that, this actually helps to empower someone
Absolutely.
to, do anything really?
Absolutely. It builds self-esteem, because when you're doing something that you enjoy a lot, that no one can't tell you or come and say, "Oh, what you're doing is wrong."
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna like, no, it ain't. I'm doing this for me. I'm not doing it for you. And
Right.
it builds that confidence, that self-esteem, because for me, and I know a lot of my clients, they suffer from the self-worth and the low self-esteem, and people telling them what they can't and cannot do. And
Right.
so for the creative aspect of what I do, it's like, okay, I'm doing this for me, and you don't have to like it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's empowering me to either give me a voice, empower me to notice my feelings, and empower me to say, yeah, I, hey, this is what it is. You
Mm-hmm.
like it or you don't like it.
Right.
And so I feel that not only that it is empowering, but I think I said it before, it's just freeing.
Mm-hmm.
Freeing to a place of when you know that when I stretch my arms, or when I turn on music, when I go on the beach and I decide that I just want to, put on my little Bluetooth speaker and I'm just dancing, they might think I'm crazy, but who cares? Who cares? Or even when I try to sing and I need that to soothe me, and maybe you don't think I can sing, but I think I
Mm-hmm.
can sing. I think I'm Beyonce, so I'm gonna hit all them notes. So you don't gotta like it, cause why? It's about me.
I agree. The funny thing about that is I'm very big on karaoke. I love karaoke. Now, can I carry a tune? I mean,
That ain't
maybe.
none of our business.
But I don't do it for the performance wise. I literally do it because it makes me feel good. And that's one of the things that I love about, like, the performing art aspect of what you do. So when it comes to dance, because you did mention that, how does, for you, how does that make you feel? Like, how does that empower you?
It is strengthening all the way. That is my de-stressor. That is, if I'm upset, I will put on a song quickly. And as I said earlier, I'm a mother of multiple children. So quickly, I am putting on a tune. I am going to dance, whatever it makes me if it's in the house, if it's outside, I'm going to use that as a de-stressor. I'm
Mhm.
going to use that to uplift my mood. And it gives me basically a coping skill. I don't like the word coping skills, but it's the best way to get many to understand that it really is that to help me to, okay, I'm at center. That's that thing that be like, okay, I got this. That's that thing that be like, okay, today I'm having a horrible day, but Felicia, you can move forward. You
Mhm.
got this. That is that thing for dance for me. It's like it's water. It's like I have to have it.
Mhm.
Just like music earlier, my children like, Mommy's got our meeting, Mommy's got our meeting. And they're running around and I'm like, yes, Mommy has a meeting. I said, but you know what? I'm gonna let your father handle that. I'm about to put on some music and I'm about to turn up real loud and I'm about to jam. So whatever y'all got going on there, y'all can handle that out and figure that out later. So that's what it is for me. And it may not be dance for other people. It may just be just coloring or drawing lines. One thing that I realized that I thought was insignificant that I did was scribbling. And a
Mhm.
lot of people they just scribble on paper, even if you're in class, a seminar, whatever. But that scribbling means something.
Mhm.
That scribbling is either something stressing you that you're letting out or something that you're just agitated about and you're just scribbling. And I realized that even me scribbling
Mhm.
is helping me in some way. And so a lot of people look at that, well, that's insignificant. No, it's not. That's
Mhm.
you using that art. People draw lines on the paper and just draw lines and they find peace in that.
Mhm.
So that's that.
That's really cool. So I have to ask, what type of people are actually attracted to this type of healing, this performative arts, art therapy healing?
That is a good question. Because I always thought that maybe it would be artistic people,
Mhm.
but not even those that, and I don't want to say those that are artistic, but those that either have a love for art
Mhm.
and they're like, I don't know nothing about it, but I just know I like how it sound, I like how it look, I like what it do, but I'm gonna try it because I just
Mhm.
love the form of it. And I think it's individuals that just love either music, they love dance, they love any type of performing arts, they love design, because
Mhm.
a lot of people forget that designing or people that design things it is a form of art. And
Mhm.
so I think it's those individuals that once did drawing or painting, movement, painting, just different things in their life, they're attracted to it, and those that have a love for creativity and art as well.
That is awesome. So you talked about, all types of different forms of creativity. You talked about painting, you talked about dancing. And I know one of the free gifts that you have for our participants today is the Heal Your Story 3-day challenge, which kind of sounds like it might be a writing challenge. So would you like to tell us a little bit about that today?
Yes, I would love to. So each month I do a free 3-day Heal Your Story challenge for those that may, wanting to know me or they want to. I've heard of Felicia Johnson, but I'm not quite sure if I'm ready to go in all the way with her. So
Mm-hmm.
I do the Heal Your Story challenge, and each month I have different themes. So this
Okay.
theme that is coming up is overcoming disappointment, as well as the next theme will be healing and parenting, because a lot of times you don't have to be a parent, but you might be like, one day I do want to be a parent.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work with me on the healing journey? And so I have different themes to touch on that, but I incorporate some type of form of art. I do give homework each 3 days. And one day I might, okay, I want you to paint a picture or draw a picture. Or the next day might be, I want you to write a letter to yourself. And then the third day, I want you to find a song that speaks to you in this very moment. And how does that song make you feel? And
Mm-hmm.
so I incorporate that in the challenge so people can get an understanding of what I do and how I do and why it's so significant of using creativity in your healing journey. That is
First of
the Heal Your
all,
Story Challenge.
that is amazing. And you actually said that you have one coming up at the end of
Yeah.
this month.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about that because guess what? I am going to be there. Because it sounds awesome. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, well, let me go ahead and find some things out about myself, right?
It's
So
fun.
count me in.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Love it. We would love to have you.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So before we get going here, what I'd love for you to do is tell the participants of the summit 2 key takeaways or 2 key points that you have when they start their healing journey.
My first thing I would say is be patient with yourself. Don't think that while you're on this healing journey that things are supposed to just fall off or just be great and grand in the beginning. But realize that this is a process. This is a whole lifetime process.
Right.
And it's like really rediscovering and unlearning and learning you all over again, especially if you have gone through a trauma. It's you learning you. So be patient with you, love you. And you might be like, Coach Felicia, I don't know how to do that. But it is a process. Trust me, you are going to get there and take one day at a time. The second thing I would say, do not let or allow who has hurt you, what has hurt you to define you. Don't allow the things that has wounded you. I understand it. They have tried to destroy you. I understand that what they've done to you has tried to take you out and made your life a living heck. But don't give them that satisfactory of not allowing you to embrace you and moving forward, because I promise you there is something on the other side of what you've gone through. There is a life after trauma and you are deserving of every good thing. I don't care what nobody say. Tell them I said it. You are deserving of everything that is good because you've already seen the worst of the worst. So those are the 2 things that I would say about this summit.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much, especially the being patient with yourself. One of the things that I say is that healing is not linear. This is not something that you can literally sit at point A and then go to point B. This may take you from point A to point B to point F to point B. Like it's a roller coaster of a ride. But when you realize how much better you feel, when you realize how much more love you give to yourself and those around you, like that is what a lot of people look at when they're talking about healing. They really want that whole rounded experience, but they also are kind of like, all right, we live in a popcorn,
I want it now.
We want it now. I've been dealing with this for 20 years, Tay. Been dealing with this for 30 years, Felicia. Like, when is it going to be my time? And I think that letting people know that being patient with yourself and understanding that you have to take those steps first.
Absolutely.
I think that's really important for people to know.
Absolutely. And I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you with that, because especially with the popcorn society, I realized that now you gotta I'm gonna say it like this: don't shoot me, I'm just a messenger. But it takes some work. Every day it takes a push. Every day it takes, and even you may not feel like it. I know many of us can relate to that. That's in this field. Like, I don't want to do this today. I don't want to do this today. I don't feel like it. I'm having one of them days. But you're not staying stuck there, but pushing through it and moving forward and calling on our support system and amazing people like you to be like, okay, I got this. I got this.
Well, thank you so much, Felicia, for joining me today. This has really been really it's been a very knowledgeable conversation. I'm glad that let us know, that how performing arts can be so empowering and healing. I don't think that a lot of people are out there like, yeah, that's the first thing I want to do, but hopefully this opens their eyes to this, unique method that can actually help start to bring out that inner child and that creativity and, just that wonderful awesomeness that we know is inside of our clients every day. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And participants, thank you so much for being here. Felicia and I are going to be doing a live Q&A after this. So stay tuned. Hopefully you will come and join us live, and we will see you soon. I hope you enjoyed that interview. Grab your freebie from the link on the right of your screen. Don't forget to sign up for the Remember Who You Are Masterclass and join us for a live Q&A via Zoom today at the allotted time. Can't wait to see you there.